cuties, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, hey girl. If you're not, welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about waist beads because I'm going to add on to my waist. I'm going to teach you how to put on waist beads if you don't know how to put on waist beads. And yeah, so let's dive into it. When it comes down to waist beads, you're going to need like a tape measure, preferably a tape measure, or something just to measure yourself because you want to know the circumference of your waist. So in order to know your waist size, you need to be able to measure your waist. Period. When it comes down to waist beads, there are different type of waist beads. There's the twist to tie, and twist to tie is usually like the one that has those chains where like you literally twist to tie it. Then you have the original waist beads, and for the original waist beads, they are literally they're like this, right? They're like this. The base inside of it, if you look inside, it's like this fabric. It's like, I don't want to say it's twine. It's more of a fabric-y rope. For real. That's the best way to put it. Do have different sizes of beads, so it really depends on your preference. I know some people have the large and the small mixed in together sometimes. Because there's a small, medium, and large beads, and people mix those. However, the original is literally this. She's fairly consistent, and when I say fairly consistent, I mean fairly consistent as it pertains to the sizing of the beads. It's just the same size of beads all over. Then there's the, cause the twist to tie typically is elastic. They usually use like an elastic material inside. Elastic inside, they're usually like rubbery, or they could use twine as well. We're going to call it twine, but it's not really twine because I don't know what to call it, girl. But, with the twist to tie, the base of what's inside, it really depends on the person that's creating it. But nonetheless, it's called twist to tie because literally like you have to twist it. The two locks, I guess they're locks. You have to twist the two seals together to lock it. So that's what I'm trying to say. Then the last one, is the elastic. It's one of those where you can step in it, step out type ordeals. The original beads aren't like the twist to tie or the elastic. Not the same. These, when they on your waist, they're on your waist. The only way you're going to take it off is if you cut it off. So these, you lock them forever. For lifers. The elastic is one of those like, I don't really want a big commitment for whatever reason. It's easy. It's elastic. And then for the twist to tie, it's fairly easy too because you can take it on and off. Today we have the original because all I got on my waist is original because I'm a dime that's top of the line. I'm just kidding. But so I'm just going to stay fairly consistent with what's already on my waist. Do I need to add more to my waist? No. Is there a certain number that you need on your waist? No. It's literally customer preference. So if you want 15 on your waist, I guess you could put 15 when it comes down to measurements. So I guess we can dive into the next step, which is measurements. So when it comes down to measurement with the original beads, they are literally just one line. Whoop, 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 whoop. That's the sound of the police. Whoop, whoop. Start off with measuring the elastic and twist tie, understanding your measurements, fairly easy. If you fold this in half, then obviously that would be your diameter. So whole thing, if we were to place it in the circle, this is our circumference, right? So when it's in a circle, it's your circumference. When it's brought together, your diameter. If you are buying the original, it's going to come in a straight line. So to get your measurements for that, it's fairly easy. Hold on. I'm trying to tuck the rest in because they're all the same measurements. So boom. So this is one of mine's, and they're all the same measurements because I always, when I apply it on, measure it to at least one of them or two waist beads at a time to make sure like it's not bigger than the other. So for the most part, right now I have my tape measure and I'm using the inches side. You could use the centimeter side. It doesn't matter what size you use. You can always convert it. But what I'll do is I'll take my waist and I'll measure it. This is more like this is not your waist because your waist is right where, okay, so to figure out where your waist is like this folded part, right? This folded part typically is where your waist would be. So you want like your upper hips, because this would be your hips. Lower abdominal, that's where we're measuring a lower abdominal area. So I'm going to take my tape ruler. I'm going to wrap it around. And right here, as you can see, I'm a 33, right? So if I go and buy an original waist bead, it's going to be this length because this is the length my waist is. I don't recommend buying waist beads the exact measurement of your waist. Do not recommend it. That's just me, because when it's tight on your waist, it will pop off. You want it to be a little loose. Like mine's, they all are fairly like, if I were to pull my pants down, they're about like right here. Another reason you don't want to get the waist bead your exact same waist when you go to buy any is because you do have to tie it. So when you tie it, you want there to be enough room for you to be able to tie it. You don't want to get the exact same length as your waist. Do not do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. Listen to me. What I say, don't do it. So I would say, so mine is 33, right? So I would say if I were looking to buy waist beads, I would look for a 36 or probably a 40. But my waist itself is 33. You get what I'm saying? So you're going to get a number above your waist. Don't get a number below your waist size. And when you're buying waist beads, the measurements are fairly approximate. So take that into consideration as well. So let's say, like they say, the length of the waist bead is 68. I would say subtract 1. So if you see waist beads and the length of it is 66, I would say estimate it as 65 instead, because they may have measured wrong. So always go down when you see the measurement, but when you're measuring for your waist, go up several numbers. So the original would be one long one. If you're getting elastics, they are, so going back to the elastic, so if you were to get an elastic or a twist to tie waist bead, they come already in circular formation. So this right here would no longer be the circumference, because what's in the middle of the circle? The diameter. So therefore, this would be your diameter. Elastic diameter, twist to tie could be the length or the diameter. So it could be the whole circumference or it could be the diameter, simply because it's twist to tie. Like you can open it and close it. But the elastic will always be the diameter. So it's going to be like this, right? So imagine this is my elastic waist bead. So if I were to measure this waist bead right here, mind you, my waist is still 33, right? So we got that 33 in our head for me, for you, girl. Okay. Okay. So let's say I measure this elastic bead that I just bought, right? Imagine this is elastic. So I'll put it to the 1, measure it all the way down, measuring. If I measure this elastic bead would come to 24, right? So it would be 24 for the elastic bead. The diameter of this one was 24. If we're doing elastic, because elastic, remember, like I told y'all, so elastic is going to come grouped together. When they measure it, they're measuring from this end to this end, but it comes together already because it's elastic. Twist to tie, it could be the diameter or it could be the circumference. I mean, it could be, yeah, because like the whole length of it would be the circumference, because it's gonna go in a circle. So if we were to extend it into that line, technically, you know what I'm saying, that linear part would be the whole circumference of it. When it comes down to it, it's bead to bead. There's always going to be that extra room. It might be a little, it might be a lot, because that's for you to give enough space to be able to tie it around your waist. But for the most part, when people are measuring it, at least when they are measuring it and you're buying it, it should go from bead to bead. So that's the length of it. The length of it is bead to bead. Mind you, diameter 24. So if I were to take my measuring, I will put the bead, I would start the bead on the number 1 line, and then I would go all the way. Okay. So boom. Okay. So this one right here, if we're doing the length, assuming I measured it right, So the length is a little past 45. Measured it wrong the first time because I didn't align the beads. I literally measured it from rope to end. So there's that. So my measuring was a little off, but that's what I'm saying. When they measure it, it might be a little off. So your circumference is always going to be double the diameter when you're getting elastic. Twist the tie, ask them for the whole length of it. If they don't want to do the whole length, they could tell you the diameter and you just times that by 2. So my measurement says it was a little past 45, so about to hit 46. So that's measuring 101. I don't know if I missed anything. I think that's basically it. So recap, circumference or the length. You can equate the circumference to the length of it because when you take that line, you're going to make that circle with it. It's like the whole circumference would be 46. The diameter would be half of that because you fold it in half. But I got 24 the first time, if I remember correctly. So I may have measured it wrong. Elastic, you will be looking at the diameter. Always look for, if you are to get the elastic beads, always look for the diameter of the bead. And then you would just double that. We're not going to say it's all the way 46. We're going to say it's approximately 46, about 46, right? And my waist is 33, but I told y'all my waist is not really 33 because we're not measuring my exact waist. So to put on the waist beads, what we're going to do, this is now the application process. I'm going to put one on with y'all and then I'm going to put the other one on later. If you have elastic, you don't really need the rest of this video. You just slide it on. Twist the tie, you don't really need too much. You literally just twist the tie, lock it in. However, if you're going and you're like, I want the original, it originated with the rope. I'm going to push some of the beads. And when you do this, do it very gently. Don't be forceful because you will break it. We had a lot of space at this tip right here, but I cut it short. Why? Because we want this length about. So what you're trying to do is you want to be able to get a little bit of rope on both sides. As you pull a little bit and a little bit. If you pull it too hard, you might just break the rope. Don't do that. Gentle. So now that I have this, so boom, once I have this, I pushed it fairly to the center. It doesn't have to be like the exact center, but I pushed it fairly to the center. So now it looks like this on both sides. You see how there's a little bit of like the beads are right here. The bead is right here on this side. The bead is right here on this side, but there's a little bit of room on both sides. That's what we want. So now, so this is the one. If you don't have anything to measure it to, then you can literally measure it wherever you want. I have this and many others that are under here, but I put it under my underwear band. So what I'm going to do now, since I already have some on, I want to measure it. And this is why you wouldn't get the exact size. You know what I'm saying? So look at all this space. Yeah, so I'm going to make sure I get this lined up. And then always pull it just a little bit. Remember the whole process, very gentle. And I want to get the about measurements of this bead. So what you're going to do is you're going to loop it one time, right? Loop it one time. It's going to look like this. And then you're going to slowly like maneuver it. So then it's hooked to each other. You see how it's like hooked like this? But don't tie it yet because then you're going to measure it again. Oh, that's too big. You see like this one way too big. So you're going to play around with it until you get the exact measurements. And you always want to do it just one loop because it's easier to take out. So boom, got it right here. And then we'll say about this much. So if I loop it, and just like that, I have just about the perfect measurement. Pull it up just a little bit to make sure. And then just like that. Now you're going to hold this position. You're going to make sure it's tight because you don't want any like gaps in between. So if you can pull your beads apart and there's like rope in between, you don't want that. You want it tight, sealed, snug. And you're going to do that by pulling gently once you get it the right length that you want it. If you don't have waist beads on, typically my measurement is to get it like right above almost right above my coochie. Yeah, right above there. That's where I prefer it. Some people want it higher, they want it lower. I don't be trying to purposely expose my waist bead or like for people to see how many waist beads I have on at a time. If I'm sitting and you can see it, that's one thing, but purposely like to have all my waist beads up here, I personally don't. Once I have it here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take one of them. So I have obviously these two sides. I'm going to take one of them and I'm going to always make sure you put your thumb right here. You're going to put your thumb right here to hold it. And then you're going to take the bead, one of them, and you're going to loop it around one time. And you're going to tie it a little tight, but don't like yank it. You got to be real gentle throughout this whole thing. And then you're going to wrap it around again. Now I'm going to use the other one and I'm going to wrap it around. Right. And then once I'm done wrapping it around, at this point, cut this end off. If you cut this end off, like this knot part, if you cut this off, this will release whatever beading is in there. You might need a trash can here. The reason why you don't want to cut both of them to release both beads is because if you don't measure this right, or you need to add another bead, you can add another bead from this side. So boom, now I'm going to come in and I'm going to take this thread and I'm just making a knot. And I'm going to get this. Okay, so see, I tied it. Now we have our first loop. Don't leave it right there. Hold on, let me measure it. Yeah, you see how like if I were to pull down my pants, you see this one and this one, they're right next to each other. That's how I know I did my measurement right. Okay, might be. Anyways, so once you get that first knot, you're not done. You're not done, girly. You're gonna do the same thing I told you. You're gonna wrap this around. And I typically do it. This is how I do it to make mine stay, but I'll wrap it around probably 2 or 3 times. And then I tie it again. And the whole technique of all of this is you have to make sure, because right now I have to go back again because like I tied it and the rope, instead of the knot coming right here at the base, it was all the way up here and it would have did this. So this process do take a hot little minute. But if you have a friend that knows what they're doing, they could do it for you. If you're a tad bit confused, I apologize. But yeah, so I gotta start from the beginning again. And I gotta wrap it. And you're gonna wrap it around like 2 to 3 times before you actually tie it. So now that I have it wrapped, I'm going to tie this again. You want to tie this base part tight, so make sure this base part isn't loose. Okay, see, got the rope here. Oh, it's stuck around my nails. Girl, please be for real. Okay, so you see how like it's trying to cut? You see how it's trying to cut in between? I don't know if you guys can see it, but it's trying to cut in between the beads. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to like maneuver it. Okay. So I just pulled it a little bit. So if it gets stuck around the other beads, just like pull it towards the other one a little bit. And then you're going to tie it. And make sure you're tying it snug. And then I'm going to take it and tie it again. And then I'm going to wrap it one more time. Just once this time. And then I'm going to tie it. And always make sure you're like pulling snug, but don't like pull aggressively where it rips. Cause this is very Very, very fragile. So don't let the twine fool you. And it's not just one twine, it's actually multiple twines. So because I tied it, I'm going to tie it one more time. It's so funny when people ask me if I can do stuff with my nails. Like, girl, I do everything with long nails, as y'all can see. So boom, I tied it once again. And I'm going to make sure it's snug. And then when you cut it, this is the trick. When you cut the rope, don't cut like right at the, don't cut right there at that base part. You don't want to do that. If you cut way too much at this point, you might just cut it too low. And if you cut it too low, that will unwind it. That's why we like wrap it so many times. So that wrapping and that tying will help if it does unwind with the first layer. It has multiple layers to go through before it actually like loosens and unravels on your waist. So I have it like that right now. It kind of looks like this. You see, like you kind of see a knot right here. Yeah. So now when I cut it, I'm going to leave a little room away from the knot that I tied. Not too much, just a little bit. A little bit of hang time. Okay. So right there, I don't know if you can see it. You see like this little like tiny speck right here? Yeah. So boom, got that little speck. Then I'm going to cut the other one as well. Kind of low, not too low, just right. And then, can you make this up? You're going to lick your finger. Can you make this up? Girl, do as I say. Lick your finger. And you're going to put it right where the loose ends are. And you're going to rub it. Okay. And you see now it looks like this. Yeah. Be patient. The hardest part is when you're tying, making sure that the rope itself stays at the line where you want it to be sealed at and it doesn't cut into other beads. Take your time. Don't rush. This one is going to be on my waist until I don't know when. Do account for some of the beads will fade colors after a while because it depends on the beading manufacturer. So whoever created the beads, that's why it would fade and not who actually created the waist bead itself. So there's that. Take that into consideration. I had that happen to me, I think twice, but I make my own waist beads because I can make my own waist beads. If you need some waist beads and you're like, girl, I don't even know where to get waist beads, girl, go visit my mom's storefront. Yeah. But all the regular ones on there, I created by hand. So you don't got to be like, oh my gosh. Because I know some people don't let just anybody make their waist beads. Everybody's preference is different. But if it makes you feel comfortable, I made all the original ones. That's that. I've had waist beads for a while now. I can't tell you what age I started. I would say the only difficult part that I kind of don't like about waist beads, and I have thought about cutting them off my waist, is when I wear like bodycon stuff, because no matter whatever underwear I wear, it has that little like bump. But that'll happen when you have like multiple waist beads on. I have multiple. I'm not gonna tell you the exact amount, but I do have multiple on. If you have one or two, it really doesn't show it. So there's that. Take that into consideration. Trying to figure out what else I'm missing. A lot of people use waist beads to measure weight loss, weight gain. When you get pregnant, we don't wear waist beads. If you're wondering, like pregnant people don't wear waist beads. When you're pregnant, you cut the waist beads off because you're pregnant and your stomach's growing, and it's literally your stomach will probably bust. If your stomach doesn't bust your waist beads, what'll happen is like your waist beads will roll up. But like, yeah, I sometimes will roll up my waist beads. Girl, I can roll it up to here. That's because I don't really have big boobs. So there's that. The old folks tale. If you have waist beads, it helps maneuver. I'm not telling y'all, I didn't come up with it. I'm telling y'all what I was told. There's different folklores when it comes down to waist beads. So depending on the tribe, the place in Africa, everybody has their own different side when it comes down to the culture. or waist beads. However, there's an old folklore way back when they said waist beads are to help maneuver food from like your stomach area down to your butt. Couldn't really tell you, you know what I'm saying? I really can't tell y'all if it's true or not, if it really do or not. I'm just telling y'all the folklore. And yeah, lot of the times in many cultures, like you're not supposed to let other people see your waist beads. It's more like a husband and wife thing. But then again, that goes down to like, that's what I'm saying. Culture plays a part in it. So, cause there's times where there's tribes that'll allow you, like, there's tribes where you literally see their waist beads. And there's other countries where if they see your waist beads, you're known as a shawl. And it's like, wasn't a shawl? A shawl is a 304. Um, and we gonna leave it at that. If you don't know what 304 is, girl, I can't really help you at this point. Yeah. So there's that. I'm trying to think about what else when it comes down to waist beads. Yeah, you can cut them off at any time. And yeah, I think I pretty much covered all you need to know is your waist length, the length of your waist, because the length of your waist is equivalent to the circumference, and you don't want to use your exact measurement. So if you're, like I said, if your waist is like, for mine, we hit at 33, right? Boom. We hit at 33. Obviously, I'm not going to get 33 because y'all saw me wrap it around trying to tie it. I need a little more lengthier. If you have any questions, definitely hit me up. Want any waist beads? I mean, like, I want some waist beads. Definitely hit up the site and get your waist beads today. It's summertime. It's getting warm outside. Go ahead. I think I can push this one up a little bit. Pull this to the side. So I'm starting the process of this one. I already like made enough room. And then I'm gonna push it real good. Okay. So there's that. Boom. Now I'm ready to do this one because I have some space on this side, I can tie it around my waist. It's ready to go. But going back to the pregnant thing, pregnant women, very rarely do you see pregnant women wearing waist beads. When you get pregnant, you typically cut off your waist beads, or like they'll naturally pop off, or whatever the case may be, going back to the last point. And then you put it on your ankle as an anklet. So it has to be loose because obviously some people's ankles get fat when they're pregnant because all that fluid build up. But typically that's what happens when you get pregnant. Like, you'll move your waist beads down to your ankles, and make it an anklet. You don't have to. You can literally like push out your baby and then go back to waist beads. It's a preference thing. It's a preference thing, to be honest. It really is. Catch me this summer. You know, 2 colors. Actually, you know 3 of the colors that I have on. Whatever, girl. I don't remember what I was doing. I don't know if it was a fitting for a fashion show that I was in or what it was, but it was like at that moment, in this exact time, cut them bitches off right now. It was beads going everywhere. Like, yes, you can control it, but once you cut it, that first initial cut, it will release some beads. But I had to cut my waist beads off at that exact moment because it was messing up everything. I don't remember what it was though, but it was a while back. So I had to start from scratch, I think like 3 times. Ooh, this color is so pretty. This one's not for me. This one's for a client. This one is a customized piece for a client. But, so boom, wrap it around. And then like, obviously it can't wrap around the second time. It could, because it's like, it's up right here and right here. So if I had I think this one's a 70 something, 90 something, I could wrap it around 2 times. I'd have like 2, which is actually 1. I know people do that as well, but you would just have to like double your measurements to get customized ones that are that length. But the only thing about those are like, if it cuts, if it breaks, then the whole thing. So if you have one that actually looks like 2, once it breaks, then it's all gone. You have to consciously remember that you have them on, especially when you have to pee. When you have to pee really bad. Like, obviously, if you just regularly go into the bathroom, okay, cool. But when you have to pee really bad, because I've had this happen to me one time, that's actually how one of them broke. And I had to start all over. That was one of my starting over points where it's like, it wasn't really starting over because only 2 of them broke. but it was all over the bathroom floor. I went to the bathroom, and it's not that I didn't know that I had waist beads on, but I had to go so bad. I pulled down my underwear, and my thumbs were like obviously there. So when I pulled it down, when I pulled my underwear down, like the waist beads broke with it. And all you seen was like beading all on the bathroom floor. So there was that. So like when you're rushing to the bathroom, always take into consideration, I got waist beads on, but take your time to separate your underwear from your waist beads. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Like lower abdominal coochie area, that borderline. That's where mine is. So when it comes to like pulling down my underwear, I always gotta take, I personally always gotta take that into consideration. Like, girl, you got waist beads on. Since that one incident, I always remember now because like I had white and I was coming out of the bathroom and this girl was like, why are there so many beads on the floor? And I was young. I was in my teenage years and I was like, I wasn't really ashamed, but I didn't want people to like know it was me that like, I didn't want them to know it was me. So I just came out the bathroom, washed my hands and left. But yeah, I have a confession and my confession was that was me. Nothing really determined. I just woke up one morning and was like, I want to add on to my waist beads. Some days I just be like, I want to start over. Nothing really determines it for me. And yeah, so talk to y'all later.